Hello, friends. My name is Matti McLean, and today I am ranking the Greek Olympian gods. So, essentially, all of the major gods from Greek Olympiad. So, yeah, there's a lot here. I'm going to try to remember as much as I can about Greek mythology as I do this. But overall, this is just time to be a little bit silly, a little bit snarky, I guess, and just see what they're due. So, number one, I think it's safe to say that starting with Zeus is normally a good choice. So, is Zeus the strongest god? Yeah, pretty much. He's kind of a horn dog, and by that I mean he's a renowned horn dog. There is a lot to him where most of his myths just involve him bonking someone, and essentially going from there. Main weapon obviously being his lightning bolt that he crafted, or was it Hephaestus crafted for him? Can't remember that specific detail. But yeah, Zeus being at the top, obviously he's the leader god. He's the lead of the Olympians, so I can understand him being up here. Some other gods here that I would like to see included, it would be nice if we had Persephone or some other ones along those lines, but let's see where we go. The other god I would kind of put in the S tier would be Aphrodite. Well, Aphrodite is more of an A tier. Goddess of love, very vain, obviously very vain. I guess that goes without saying. But, known for her beauty, known for her lusty pieces. So, Aphrodite, my favorite story in Greek mythology is the fact that she comes out of Uranus's testicles. So, when his testicles are cast into the sea, the Aegean Sea, I think, when they're cast into the sea, there is a sea foam that emerges, and out of the sea foam arises Aphrodite. So, yeah, if you didn't know that, now you do, and I don't apologize for the fact that now you know that. It's always good to know useless stuff about Greek mythology. It's always good to have a fun time with it. Who are the other gods who I think are at the top? I would argue Poseidon being up there. Very powerful, god of horses, I love how it's just like god of sea, but also horses. I don't never quite understood what that connection is there. If anyone does, please let me know. But yeah, known for his trident, known for his ability to essentially control the waves. Hater of heroes, especially Odysseus. Really doesn't like Odysseus. Yeah, Poseidon's just kind of a cool god who does neat things. So definitely one of the more interesting aspects of Greek mythology would be there. Hades is kind of interesting because he's a god who has a very powerful modern day complex, but like at the time he wasn't really that, like, it wasn't looked as an evil character or anything like that. He just kind of did his own thing, and as a god he was just kind of like, no one got into a fight with Hades unless they wanted to leave the underworld, which, Orpheus might have another thing to say there. But overall, Hades doesn't do too much outside like the realm of power. Sure, he has the dominion over his reign, but like Hades has a very different context these days. Like normally what we would consider Hades then would be more along the lines of like Tartarus or something like that. So is Hades evil? No, he's kind of just chill. He's more of just an inevitability at this point. Sure, I think that there's the context. There are a few myths where he's just like, I wish I had more, but overall I don't think that there's too much there that is so I guess problematic, the same way that I would kind of consider most gods of modern death problematic. But we're gonna get into some interesting territory here. So let's go. If we go for Apollo, god of the sun, god of art, so I think for me that automatically gives him a little leg up. Brother of Artemis, twin brother of Artemis actually. They are both very well. I'm gonna throw in goddess of the hunt. They do have a really nice polar opposite thing going. Apollo being about art, Artemis being about strength. Had this been done in today's day and age, you can guarantee their roles probably would have been reversed. They would want the male hunter and they would want the female patron of the arts. But I really like how this has been set up because they've done a lot of really cool stuff with this. So, yeah, I've always liked their stories. I feel like Apollo is a very... of all of them, I think that he's probably one of the most interesting gods, but simply because he does have that connection with the arts and with the world. Like the fact that he has an oracle, he has the Oracle of Delphi, obviously, and the fact that he even has that is more than most of the Greek gods have in regards to a relationship with humanity. So for that element and for that element alone, I have to say Apollo is kind of an interesting choice, and one that I think deserves a lot of respect and interest and introspection. So keep that it is. Athena's pretty badass. I'm gonna keep Athena up on top. I think that she represents a lot of really cool things, especially to a modern audience and looking through this through a modern lens. She represents feminism, but she's known as the goddess of wisdom. Very, very smart. Obviously, she's the god of smart. What do you expect? So Athena, very cool, very interesting. Always liked her. The fact that she has an owl as her familiar is really cool as well. So yeah, Athena. I do think the whole myth of her birth, where she just emerged from a headache that Zeus had, I've always been like, that's kind of dumb, but it's also fits right in with what most Greek mythology is, which is like things that are sort of dumb done really well and really interesting and really cool. Uh, my personal next favorite would probably be Hermes. And I think having Hermes at the top here is a good option. Messenger god, kind of now more so known for being a trickster, which I kind of like. I like the fact that he's more of got a roguish element. I've always enjoyed those kind of characters who have maybe not subversive pieces, but just characters who have more of a fun, silly side. And even though he's the god of messengers, he's also like the god of thieves. He's also the god of pathways or journeys. So yeah, Hermes is interesting. He definitely has a lot to him, but also like the father of modern medicine in his own way, because his spear is a caduceus. So there's a lot of connotations there that are really interesting. All right, Ares, god of war. I understand the point of Ares. Obviously, in today's day and age, I'm not such a fan of Ares as a character. I feel like I'm tempted to put him in D, but he is powerful. He is obviously very well feared. Just anything with war these days, I'm just like, I guess it's necessary, but I don't like it. To imply that there's a god of war of anything is kind of silly, because wars are ultimately just man-made things that are done on levels that don't take into account the benefit. I'm proselytizing, so I'm going to refrain. But let's see what happens. Demeter being a goddess of essentially fertility, not fertility, for farms and for harvest. She plays a very, very important role in this era, especially. Farmland was what most people did, so they would rely on Demeter to be able to facilitate these kind of things. So overall, I have no problem putting her up at top. I think she's very cool. Same with Hephaestus. I feel like Hephaestus has kind of a bad rap because he's the broken god. He's the god who Hera looked at and thought was so ugly. She threw him off Mount Olympus, and then he climbed back up. Yeah, as a baby, what would you like if your first thing that ever happened when you were birthed, you're just like, you know what? No thanks. And they just toss you away. Don't do that. I should probably clarify by saying just don't do that. But overall, Hephaestus, interesting god, can craft pretty much anything in his furnace. Well known for his skills. There are less interesting things to be than a forger. So I think that he's really cool. He does a lot of really neat things. These are the ones I'm having trouble with. Hestia, goddess of the hearth. It's kind of a dud god. Goddess of home, goddess of like that. I think the most interesting thing about her, and feel free to tell me if you have a favorite Hestia story, because I don't have a lot of them. But my favorite is that she steps down so that Dionysus, the party god, can be, a regular force. And as such, like, I gotta put the party god up with the party. And now I'm stuck with Hera. And I don't know what to do with Hera because there's so many different versions of her and they're all kind of awful. But if I had to go with my gut, I would probably put her in C. Just for controversy, let's put Aries at the bottom. All right, this is me. I can only wonder what other people did here too. So this is how other people ranked it, with Zeus and Hera at the bottom, Hestia and Ares in the middle. Hades, Artemis, and Athena on top is interesting. Yeah, I don't know if I agree with this, but this is apparently the popular opinion. So, with that being said, hopefully we've learned something today, and I think what I've learned is that maybe don't do Greek mythology myth tier lists right away. But let's see what we do next.
Thank you for watching. My name is Matti McLean. You can find me on problematic streaming platform Spotify at A Canadian in Eurovision. You can find me online on Twitter and Instagram at The Big Shabam. And finally, if you like what you've seen here and you want to help me out, feel free to like, subscribe. It really does help. And also, if you want to see me do something next, don't be afraid to tell me. Looking forward to hearing from you all soon, and you have a great day now.